I wrote this thing called the Pragmatic Climate Reset, because we're at this moment in time, and there's a question. You've got those guys pushing back, and by the way, yes, they're all guys, okay? Pushing back and saying it's all pointless and futile, and we need to be pragmatic, i.e. give up. And I decided that, no, well, one potential option was to say, no, we'll double down. Climate is scary. We need to do more of the same. We'll use the same policy. We'll talk more about 1.5 degrees and how important it is. And I thought, no, we actually need to take this moment. At that point, we had 5 more years of this decade to 2030, a critical year, and we need a reset. And we need to be pragmatic, and we need to own the word pragmatic. And what does that mean? Pragmatic is we deal with the problem. I'm a conservative. We deal with the problem. Doesn't matter what politics, but you deal with the problem. That's pragmatism. Not to say, well, I don't know, there's nothing we can do about it. And by the way, we'll just make money in between. So I wrote this thing called the Pragmatic Climate Reset, and I started it. It's got lots of things about how we could change the messaging and take into account all these, developments around the world in energy and so on, but do it avoid things that are too expensive and focus on what works. But before then, in the first part of it, I really wanted to kill this idea that everything we do is futile. So I started with that 30% clean energy, and I built the world's smallest model of the entire energy system. It's 4 lines. The top line is the economy, which grows at 3%, and energy demand a bit less, so energy demand grows at 2%. And then clean energy, the blue bit, grows at 5%. So it's a model of a transition which is not, we have to destroy Shell. It's a model of a transition that says we just grow the clean stuff. We've just seen how the clean stuff is growing. We just make sure that it grows faster than the demand for energy. We don't focus on fossil at all. The emissions reductions are a byproduct of just having lots of clean energy in the market. That's not to say it goes into the market automatically and without regulation and lots of hard work. No, it needs all of that. But if we succeed in getting more clean energy into the market, that's what happened. Hang on a second, nothing. It looks the same, right? 2035 hasn't changed. 2045, 2055, 2065. And by 2065, fossil is basically gone. And it's the difference between the smaller thing compounding at the big thing compounding at 2% and the smaller thing compounding at 5%. And you get a transition. And this, I said that we were going to talk about growth. Every entrepreneur, no entrepreneur can start a business saying, what's your strategy? My strategy is to beat IBM. My strategy is to beat and kill. No, your strategy has got to be launch a product, grow a product. Sell to Bloomberg in that case, right? But the point is, the way that we really are going to achieve a transition is by growing the clean stuff, providing abundance of clean energy and getting it into people's hands and getting it into businesses' hands and investors owning more and more of it in their portfolios. If we bang on about how we have to destroy this and stick ourselves to the doors of Shell and all that sort of stuff, we're alienating people whose behaviors you need to change. Getting clean electricity is something that energy ministers can do. Getting somebody to switch to an EV, getting them to use a heat pump, getting them to change their little bakery to use an electric oven rather than gas. You need these people to be on board. You need them to be on board, so you have to communicate with them. And you can communicate about growth and technology and hopefulness and better services all day long without getting an allergic reaction.